the camera and say, I was influenced by teachers. And not every teacher, but enough teachers to where I have a glowing feeling for teachers. My mother was an elementary school teacher. And when a teacher showed their interest, you could see them lose themselves in their interest and then kind of come back to the classroom, and you would see that transition, that partly because the teacher sees 7 kids really interested in the classroom that is kind of spread out, and they see that they've captured those 7. And if you really get into the teacher, you see them trying to capture the others rather than, because there were teachers that simply fed the 7.
Yeah, right. Yes, unfortunately.
And there were teachers that loved the 7. But I definitely, particularly with literature, if a student said, I never get anything out of this poetry stuff, and they would talk about poetry stuff.
Then what?
Well, an interested teacher might go for a coffee with the student if they're an older student and see what they're interested in, and then remember the poets that they know that are interested in those things. Because we could take Dostoevsky. If you're not interested in the things he's interested in, he's doom or gloom. He's not doom or gloom in a big sense, and yet his books are doom and gloom. And so I think you could like really Dickens if you were interested in families. If you're interested in psychology, Dostoevsky could be useful, but I think to understand how most people are, Dickens would be differently useful. And so...
Okay, I talk?
Yeah.
I had a teacher in 7th and 8th grade, Mrs. Norkett, and she was absolutely passionate about grammar and about, I don't know if this is the right verb, it was called diagnosing a sentence? No, it was... Diagramming. Yes.
I loved it.
Oh, you loved it? Yeah, I did too. And it just, her way of describing that structure of the sentence with the object or the direct object, and then those little things, the prepositional phrases that hung over them. I remember when I first met you, you asked me what I was passionate about, and I said punctuation. And you went, ha ha ha! That is the weirdest to me. And I was offended because I was fascinated.
She is weird.
Yeah. That we've got millions of words and only 7 or 8 forms of punctuation. Just imagine being a punctuation, having to handle millions of words. You're just working all the time. And why we haven't developed 100 different forms of punctuation, of diagramming, and then you think actually the poets are the ones that are playing with grammar and punctuation, and they make the difference. They show you that you place the word there versus the word there. You and I talk, I learned from my friend Herbert to constantly say, it isn't there yet. To bring that yet in.
I stole it.
Yes, you stole it. And it's right to be still, because it's the difference between somebody saying, it's never going to change, or it's not yet going to change. The yet holds out hope. That little word is the difference between wanting to just go, forget it, versus, well, but we don't yet have it. But I remember that in 7th and 8th grade, to understand grammar, and thus to actually understand writing. I remember when I was in my 20s, I was going to a job. The guy was an eye doctor, and he asked me if I could write. And I said, yes. He said, do you like to write? I said, I love to write. He said, are you good at it? I said, I'm really good at it. He said, good, I hire you. I said, but I don't know anything about eyes. He said, let me tell you, in the future, it's only the people who know how to use language that are going to get jobs. somebody knowing about eyes, it doesn't matter, he said. And I hire people from my office who are literate and articulate because they can explain something, they can understand when I'm talking to them.
Smart.
And now I'm going to look into the camera. And now I'm going to be a teacher that you're going to appreciate. Get to be articulate because you will always have a job lined up for you. Every company's looking for the person that can make the terse, interesting sentence. Every company. And I've always felt that, okay, I've been a waitress, I've been this thing, that thing. But writing is the thing that I can fall back with. I will never be hungry because I'm a good writer. Please learn how to move the language. Okay, so that's a teacher you can appreciate me.
And I will PS that by saying the same value in what she is talking about is valuable in, well, especially a romantic relationship. How you listen to the other and how you speak to the other makes the enchantment, not how good you kiss.
Now we have a pregnant pause and everybody's going to think that was profound.
Well, I also am sensing it's long.
A little